Every single center console on a dealer lot looks fantastic from 20 feet away. Fresh gel coat, chrome hardware catching the sun. That new boat smell. A salesman standing next to it telling you this is the best built boat in its class. But here is what 20 feet of distance hides. It hides hull thickness. It hides what the stringers are actually made of. It hides whether the transom has wood in it or not. And it absolutely hides the quality of the wiring stuffed behind that center console. I went through Surveyor reports, owner teardowns, boat show inspections, and years of forum threads on the hull truth to find out what is actually inside 5 popular center consoles in the $30,000 to $80,000 range. 4 of them had problems ranging from disappointing to genuinely alarming. One of them was built right. Let's cut them open. Number 1. Wellcraft 222. Fisherman, $65,000 to $85,000 rigged. This one sets the floor for what we are going to compare everything else against, and not in a good way. An owner of a 2019 Wellcraft 262 Fisherman pulled measurements near the keel forward of the transom. The hull thickness came in at roughly 0.30 inches. For context, experienced builders and surveyors say a proper hand-laid hull should measure 5/8 of an inch on the bottom and 1/2 an inch on the sides at minimum. This hull was about half of what it should be, but it gets worse. The stringer and liner assembly was bonded to the hull with plexus adhesive instead of being fiberglassed in. Plexus is a structural adhesive used in manufacturing, but in the marine world, fiberglassing stringers to the hull is the standard because it creates a permanent chemical bond that becomes part of the hull itself. Gluing them on is a cost-cutting decision. The hardware situation was not any better. Behind the cleats, where you tie off your dock lines and anchor rode, the builder used fender washers instead of proper backing plates. Fender washers are what you buy at the hardware store for 3 cents each. Backing plates spread the load across a wide area of fiberglass, so the cleat does not rip out when a storm surge hits your dock lines at 3 in the morning. Forum consensus from boaters and mechanics who have worked on these boats labels Wellcraft as a mass-produced inexpensive hull. At $65,000 to $85,000 rigged, that is a tough pill to swallow. Number 2. NauticStar 2302. $60,000 to $75,000 rigged. NauticStar has the worst documented construction record of any brand in this segment, and I'm not saying that casually. This is based on years of owner reports, warranty claims, and mechanic assessments. The structural problem that stands out most is stringer debonding from the hull. At least one owner had the entire hull replaced under warranty because the stringers separated from the bottom of the boat. Stringers are the backbone of a hull. They are the beams running from bow to stern that keep the bottom from flexing. When they debond, the hull loses its structural integrity. One owner's 3-year-old 22-footer showed most of the stainless fittings bleeding rust, cork joints separating throughout the boat, fittings held on by only 1 or 2 threads, and broken hatch struts. The cushions used galvanized staples instead of stainless steel. Galvanized steel in a saltwater environment starts corroding immediately. The bilge pumps on documented NauticStars were literally glued to the hull and came loose. The wiring is described as low quality across multiple independent reports. The bilge access is terrible, making it nearly impossible to service the one area of a boat that needs the most attention. Multiple experienced members on the Hull Truth rank NauticStar alongside Bayliner. If you know what Bayliner's reputation is in the boating world, that comparison says everything. Number 3. Robalo R230. $80,000 to $110,000 rigged. Robalo is the most frustrating brand on this list because half the boat is genuinely well built and the other half is a marketing lie. The hull itself is reinforced with Kevlar, which adds impact resistance and stiffness. The transom uses a poured ceramic composite that Robalo claims offers 3 times the tensile strength of competitors. That transom is legitimately wood-free, and it is a strong piece of engineering. But here is where the marketing falls apart. Robalo heavily promotes no ROT construction. The implication is obvious: no wood anywhere in the boat. Except there is wood in the boat. The stringers use perma panel, which is treated rot-resistant plywood. It is still plywood. An owner on the Hull Truth confirmed there is wood in his R247 stringers, though not in the transom. The Cayman line is even worse, with documented exposed wood in bulkheads and screws driven directly into unsealed wood. On the electrical side, new Robalo R222 and R227 boats had documented gremlins. One owner's automatic bilge pump failed because the breaker was undersized for the pump, and the scupper design on the 24-foot model allows water to backflow and flood the deck if two adults stand in the stern. That is not a cosmetic issue. That is a design flaw that puts water where water should never be. At $80,000 to $110,000 rigged, you are paying a premium for a strong hull married to misleading marketing and documented quality control gaps. Number 4. Bulge Bay 230cc. Under $60,000, rigged with a Suzuki DF200. Here is where the list takes a turn that surprises everyone, including me. Bulge Bay boats are built by Carolina Composites in the same factory, using the same workers and the same construction processes as Pioneer boats. Pioneer is widely regarded as one of the best-built mid-market center consoles you can buy. Their unigrid bonding process and 2.3 pounds per cubic foot density. Closed cell foam, which is 30% denser than industry standard, are considered exceptional by surveyors and mechanics. Bulge Bay gets all of that. Same foam density, same bonding process, same factory floor, same hands building the boat. The difference is everything bolted on top. Bulge Bay uses cheaper hardware. The seats fold down instead of being integrated, cushioned leaning posts. There are no luxury amenities. One owner summed it up perfectly. The fit and finish is not the best, but it is well made. Under $60,000, rigged puts the Bulge Bay 230cc $20,000 to $40,000 below competing 23-footers with equivalent or worse hull construction. If you care about what is underneath the gel coat more than what is sitting on top of it, this boat is the hardest value to argue against in the entire mid-market segment. Number 5. Cobia 220cc. $57,000 to $75,000 rigged. This is the one that was actually built right. Cobia, owned by Maverick Boat Group, is the only brand in the $30,000 to $80,000 center console market using vacuum infusion on production hulls. Their Varus process fuses the hull, stringers, transom, and core materials simultaneously under vacuum pressure with precisely controlled resin to glass ratios. Every other brand in this price range lays fiberglass by hand, which means the resin ratio depends on how much the laminator rolls out that morning. Vacuum infusion removes that variable entirely. The result is lighter, stiffer, and more consistent than anything a hand layup can produce. The stringers are PVC foam core encapsulated in fiberglass. The transom on larger models is molded urethane. Cobia has been completely wood-free since 2006. Not no-rot wood-free with treated plywood hiding inside. Actually, wood-free. No plywood in the stringers, no wood backing plates in the console, no wood anywhere structural. And here is the detail that tells you the most about how Cobia approaches construction. The wiring is tinned and labeled. That might sound like a small thing. It is not. Marine-grade tinned copper wire costs nearly double what non-tinned wire costs. It is 10 to 12% thicker than automotive-grade wire of the same gauge. Tinned wire resists the corrosion that migrates along copper conductors underneath the insulation where you cannot see it happening. Non-tinned wire in a saltwater boat develops resistance buildup over time, generates heat, and causes the kind of intermittent electrical failures that drive boat owners insane. A builder who spends the extra money on tinned labeled wiring is telling you something about every other decision they made that you cannot see. If they did not cut corners on wire, they probably did not cut corners on resin, or foam density, or stringer bonding. And that brings me to the single most useful thing you can do at any boat show or dealer lot before you spend $1. Open the center console. Look at the wiring. If the wire looks copper orange, it is not tinned. If the runs are not labeled and the connections are just zip-tied bundles, that tells you everything about the construction philosophy behind the gel coat. Tinned wire looks silver. Labeled runs with heat shrink connections and proper terminal crimps mean the builder cares about the parts of the boat you were never supposed to inspect. Now here is why all of this matters beyond just keeping water out and electricity flowing. Resale value tracks. Construction quality almost perfectly. Brands with premium construction retain 70 to 80% of their value after 3 years. Budget construction brands retain 55 to 60% or less. On a $100,000 boat, that 15% gap is $15,000 in real money. The buyer who spent $7,000 more upfront for a Cobia over a NauticStar gets that $7,000 back plus another $8,000 when they sell. The boat that looks identical on the showroom floor can be a fundamentally different machine underneath the gel coat, and now you know how to tell which one is which.